All right, guys, so we're going to take a quick look at the automotive advertising history of Cadillac-LaSalle around the 1930s and 40s. This is going to be sort of towards the beginning and end of the Great Depression. We're going to go through a nice brief period there, and then right before World War II began. So let's take a quick look at this. So obviously, coming into the 1930s, we're looking at Cadillac LaSalle here. They're talking about innovation. It's sleek, it's luxurious. LaSalle was a kind of the more luxurious version of a Cadillac. Both Cadillac and LaSalle were subsidiaries of GM at the time, so all of their advertisements are going to cater towards the upper class, not even middle class. It's going straight for the higher end market. LaSalle, this ad right here says, "Do you know for what a moderate sum you can have a new LaSalle?" And then the Cadillac ad says, "A man is known by his automobile." So both are really trying to appeal to the higher end here. So now in 1938, this ad is saying now's the time and here's the car. We're now exposing GM has now created a new V8 motor, putting out around 125 horsepower. This hadn't been seen yet. Buick nor Plymouth had come out with this as well. So you got a bigger motor, you got better suspension, you're reinforcing the chassis. You're kind of giving people a reason to buy a car now because it's cool. It's fast, it's fun. Some of these even had drop tops, which I think even today a drop top is still something exciting for a lot of people. So a lot of people are trying to get out there and get ahead of the game, and GM is really pushing for this new V8 LaSalle to come out. Now, unfortunately, this is 1938, so this is, post-depression, but LaSalle didn't really have a big footing. They did really price themselves out of the game here, so this would actually be LaSalle's last vehicle that would be manufactured was the V8 in 1938. They went on to later design a 1939 and a 1940 model, but there wasn't any produced. So let's take a quick look though. So post Great Depression, from 1929 to 1932, the entire industry, not just GM, but saw a 75% decrease from sales across the board, pretty much only totaling $191 million. The luxury end of the market is what's going to be hit the hardest, and that would be Cadillac LaSalle specifically, because the wealthy were more worried about their investments completely getting taken away rather than simply just buying a new automobile. Once again, to reiterate, LaSalle still did not have enough basically time in the industry since they started in 1928 to make a name for themselves because they started at a very poor time and then they pretty much priced themselves out. So what happened was GM took all that money from the super high-end LaSalle and started putting their money into making more Cadillac models and also making them a little bit more affordable. 1929, Cadillac unveiled a V16 model, is the first 16-cylinder car made, which is not really something that's manufactured in today's time, but it was completely innovative. Once again, it seemed like all things are going against them. Great Depression strikes, and you now have a brand new car that is astronomically priced because of the size of the engine, but also they made it extremely luxurious. I'm sure we've seen all these in like movies. You got your spare tire attached to the front fender. So in 1930 they produced 2,000 units and hopes to sell them. 1931 they produced 13 units. From 32 to 35 they produced 0, and then in 35, 50, 37, 50, and then in 1940, the last year they made the V16, they produced 50 units. GM even came out and stated that every single V16 that they made was an absolute loss. So they did rely on Buick and Pontiac's lower price point to help them out of it. So now we go into the 1940s. Cadillac was still sticking with the V16 in 1940, but by 1941, GM had started the conversion of all of their plants, and in 1942 it had officially taken effect. The World War II had struck, and so now all of their factories had been converted for the war effort. They were making airplanes, tanks, trucks, guns, and ammunition. So do their ads. Their ads are now looking towards the war effort. All their ads are going to have guns, airplanes, machines, and it's basically saying, we have the right job for you. It's trying to let their buyers know that, hey, don't forget about us. You may own a car by us, but don't forget we're still here for you. We're just working in the war effort now. So when we come back, feel free to keep that in mind. And here's a few more ads to look at. We're looking at one ad from 1943, I believe, and then an ad from mid-war. No wonder the Japs are amazed. It's showing how Cadillacs created planes, tanks, trains, and then in the other ad it says we're well into our third year of armament work. So once again, reiterating the fact that Cadillac has been in the forefront using some of that technology that they use in the V16 motors. They created some excellent motors for some planes, tanks, and a lot of other oddities. And then this last page is for you, Ms. Powell. This is just my works cited for the lesson today. Thank you.